Okay, I'm gonna show everybody the kind of craziness I'm involved with here. So this house has some really nice, or had some really nice, beautiful hardwood floors underneath piles of years and years of other flooring. And I'm gonna try to save it, knowing that I know it's not gonna be perfect. This flooring had subfloor nailed over the top of it. It's got some very old linoleum glued down on the very last layer, and it's got this, looks like tar, kind of stuck on the floor, very stuck on the floor. Some stripper I found is taking it off. This is what I'm looking at in the rest of the house. This all had carpet on it. So really these floors are in much better shape. Some of them need filled. Now this floor, pretty traditional for this style house, this craftsman bungalow house. In 1924, these houses were mail order houses, and the entire house would come on a train or a truck and get delivered for build. This flooring is over a diagonal subfloor, and here's a piece of it. So it's a little more than a 1/4 inch thick. It's tongue and groove laminate oak flooring. There's only so much you can take off of this floor, so we're gonna see how that turns out. Like I said, not a professional at doing this, not looking for the perfect floor. What I'm looking for is just to save some old beauty that was in this house, and see how that comes out. So far, I have figured out that the drum sander, you would just use tons of sandpaper in this area if you don't get this tar off here first. So that's what I'm doing first, is painstakingly taking this old flooring up. I'll just kind of let you guys watch as I wrestle with this old floor. This floor also was laid in a square pattern around the house. So this floor is fairly difficult to redo because going with all the grain is really not possible. Now that when I get down that far, I've just got mineral spirits here on a little scrub brush, and I'm just gonna kind of scrub some of that because this wood is so uneven. Scrub it, and kind of loosens up some more of what's there. Trying to stay as much with the grain as I can. This mineral spirits will also eventually kind of neutralize that stripper. Just kind of scrub all that down, get a little more of it loose. Put that back in my mineral spirits, and then I'll just wipe it, kind of get it as dry as I can. Let that air out, and tomorrow, or maybe tomorrow, I will be able to sand this. And one thing I've learned here real quick is not to do too big of an area. Just to kind of do what, for the rest of this floor, I have to pull this way. So I'll just do what I can reach. Oh yeah, and I started this process to see, just to test, so that I wasn't maybe doing more damage than good. I started this process where cabinets will be, so that if it was horrible, then I can try a different method. Okay, we got that first layer of bad floor out. I was also doing some drywall sanding here between coats. I got drywall going on in the living room, so I left tracks. Didn't go too bad. It took about 3.5 to 4 hours, somewhere in there, to get that scraped off of there. I will scrape it off a little more, be a little more particular, and then we'll wipe it all down with strip clean, and we'll go get the sander tomorrow and start sanding. And I'll bring you guys along for that. If anybody thought that looked like great fun, just get a hold of me. I have more to do after this. Wouldn't blame me if you don't. So we'll see you all tomorrow. All right, here we are. We got the sander. The floor is drier. We're gonna start with pretty aggressive paper and see what this looks like. One thing is, like, this floor is laid in that box pattern. All the grain goes different directions. I've never done a floor like this, so what I'm gonna do is sand it diagonal to try to get some consistency in how it sands. I've never done it that way. I've always sanded with the grain, but here we go. We'll see how we go. A little bit of a disclaimer here. Most of the time when you do this first pass, you want to get about 90% of the finish off, but this finish is still very sticky, so I need to keep the sander moving enough to keep it cooler so it doesn't gum up as bad. So we're going to go through, still going to go through quite a bit of paper, but so far, so good. Okay, so we're that far. That was with 20 grit paper, by the way. And I think I'm going to go ahead and switch to 36. Keep digging through it and see what we have left at the end of it. Some of it's coming off very nice. Some of it is not coming off very nice. Just have to see what we end up with when we get down to the floor. Okay, wanted to show you what happened here. I caught a nail as I was sanding the floor down. The nail heads start to stick up. Those nail heads, of course, as the floor gets sanded down and the nail protrudes up through the floor, it got sharp and ripped my paper. So I got to do that. So I just wanted to show you that's one more trial of sanding the whole floor like this. But it's coming. We'll see if there's anything left when we're done. All right, after a whole bunch of drum sanding, as you can see, it came out fairly decent. There's some of these stains, like here. I'll work on them just a little bit. So I've got all the drum sanding that I'm gonna do done. I'm starting to get kind of close. I've had to center punch those nails down about as thin as I want to go with the floor. Some of this stain will still be there. Some of it will hide with the stain that I'm going to use, but some of that's going to be there. But like I said, when I started this, I knew it wasn't going to turn out perfect. Some of this over here is still going to be there. Of course, I have to go around some of the edge here. Most of, like all of this wall is all cabinets. That wall's all cabinets. This wall's all cabinets, but the refrigerator, and then there's a floating cabinet right here, so I'll have to do some handwork on that, and then I'll get my palm sander and probably a belt sander around the outside. Get some more of that off of there. But I'm pretty happy with the floor itself. It looks a little bit splotchy. It's going to. It's 100 years old. It's been spilled on and God knows what in the last 100 years. But we'll keep going on it. I'm satisfied enough with it that I'm pretty sure I'm happy with saving these old floors. And there's still gonna be some marks on it, but I think for the most part, we saved this whole floor. We'll do some handwork on some of these spots, and I'll take some more video, and we'll see if we can get it looking any better than this. All right, so I've sanded the dining room, and it came out much better than the kitchen, which is good because not near as much of it is hidden. I think it turned out pretty good. So right here, let's see, the flooring is different right here. Originally, there was a wall across here, of course, between the kitchen and the dining room. And there was a fireplace right here at one time, and the chimney was right there. So somebody had previously patched that floor. I think it's going to turn out okay. There's a split in the floor where they did it, but I think it'll be all right. This area that's not finished here, this is an island. This will be an island that comes out. And then this opening here was just a very narrow regular door to the hallway there, and so I opened that up. So of course the floor was not like this at all, so I'm pretty happy with how all this turned out, because all of this didn't exist. There was no floor there because the door was from here to here. And I took some of the existing hardwood out of the closets to patch these floors and make them look right. So I think that turned out pretty good. And the floor is looking pretty good. There's some touch up that I have to do with a orbital sander, and of course the wall base there we've got to take care of. Over here in front of these windows, there'll be banquette seating. So that will all be a bench that comes out of that nook. So it'll be all along there, and there'll be at the back of the window here, there'll be a shelf for plants, and then there'll be storage in the bottom of that. It'll be a pew type bench. This is the cold air return, and in front of the bench here will be grating for that cold air return. One more floor for this part of the project. I'll get that in the morning. And here we are, finally done with the belt sander. This room turned out fairly well, but there is some staining on the floor. Again, I'll work on that a little bit with the orbital sander and do the edges. Hopefully, when we stain it and finish it, it'll turn out nice. Like I said before, I know it's not going to turn out perfect, but I think it'll be appropriate for the house, and we saved a lot of old wood floors. We'll see how it turns out. Good morning. All right, here we are. We're back for some more of this floor project. We did some stuff last night and I didn't do any recording. We forgot, we were kind of into it. So what you're seeing on the floor here is wood filler. We made our own wood filler out of the dust off of the floor and wood glue. And there was just some pretty big gaps in the floor in some places. So we mixed up this wood filler just very simply. I just saved the sawdust that we sanded off the floor in the last few passes of the drum sanding and mixed it with half a gallon of that wood glue, and just took a hard knife first and shoved it into the cracks, and then took a softer edge knife and scraped all the excess off. And it leaves a little bit of glue on here, as you can see, and we'll sand that off today. So we're gonna do a bunch more sanding, then we'll do some finish sanding, and then hopefully we'll put some stain on this afternoon. That's where we're at, and we'll keep the video rolling so you can see how it goes.